Hey, hi, how are you? My name's Felt, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Today we're talking about Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker's in a really interesting spot right now. I think it's taken a bit of a very slight downgrade from Shadowbringers in terms of its offensive rotation. Its defensive toolkit is stronger than ever, though. The addition of stuff like Heart of Corundum and a second stack of Aurora. However, because of the 3-gauge system now, 3-cartridge system now, as opposed to the old school 2-cartridge system and the introduction of skills like Double Down and the continuation combo for Burst Strike, you have to plan a lot more around your fights, as well as make sure that you have pre-planned your mitigations to a much larger extent because of the way that you're having to weave a whole lot more during burst windows. This video, we're going to be talking about all kinds of things about Gunbreaker. Let's start off by talking about its defensives. So, Gunbreaker's defensive cooldowns are essentially the same as they were in the previous expansion. You still have Nebula, you still have Rampart, you still have Camouflage, Reprisal, Heart of Light are still your AoE mitts, you still have Super Belide existing in the same way. The biggest changes are now you have 2 stacks of Aurora, making it much more powerful as a party-wide mitigation, and Heart of Stone, right? Yeah, Heart of Stone. It's always Heart of Stone and Heart of Light always messed me up. I'm so happy it's Heart of Corundum now. Heart of Corundum now essentially has the XCOG effect from Scholar. By that, I mean that it will now heal you when you drop below a certain health threshold. It also does the same thing that Heart of Stone did, where if you target another party member and you have your little tiny baby shield from Brutal Shell, it will pass that on. It still gives the potency heal, the 900 potency heal. I want to say that again, the 900 potency heal. It is obscenely powerful. It is also a really interesting tool to be using in dungeons, because of the way that you compare it with Super Belide to give your healers less of a heart attack. Because of the way that it works like Scholar's Excogation, or XCOG as everyone calls it, it will heal you when you drop below your certain health threshold, right? So when you pop it and have it active, you now have, okay, well those are the 2 mitigation effects as part of it. The really powerful damage mitigation of 15%, and then the other Double Down of 15%. But then you have Catharsis of Corundum taken away. And when you drop HP, it'll give you a big chunky heal. That was a 12k heal upon hitting the lower HP number. 12k heal. Combine that with an Aurora simultaneously, and by the time your invulnerability runs out, you'll have probably ticked back up to at least 20, if not 30k health, without being touched by your healer. These are pre-Savage numbers all the way through. On my eye-level 578 Gunbreaker, who is basically bissed out before Savage and Crafted Gear came out, so take these numbers with a grain of salt. They're likely to change in the future, but Heart of Corundum's damn powerful. It makes using them in dungeons a breeze. It makes main tanking bosses easier than ever in terms of your defensive capabilities. However, let's get into our offensive capabilities and why this video is titled the way it is. So, Gunbreaker's offensive skills have changed a decent amount. There are 2 rather large changes, starting with at 86. After you use Burst Strike, you now get Ready to Blast, which gives you Hypervelocity as an OGCD Weave, which is just more damage. It's not bad. It doesn't really add anything to Gunbreaker's kit. You're already very much used to double weaving, like, all the time because of the way Gnashing Fang works. It unfortunately just forces you into a double weave window. Things get a little bit weirder at 88 when you get your 3rd cartridge for your gauge. Bloodfest now gives you 3 cartridges at once, which means you're now planning a bit more of, oh, I have to burn out all my cartridges before I enter No Mercy with a Bloodfest up. But where things get really freaking weird is when you get Double Down. And that's why this video is titled the way it is. How I learned to stop worrying and love Double Down. Because, my god, this skill is a hassle. It's incredibly cool, it's incredibly potent, 1200 potency, just slamming everything, and only 20% less for nearby enemies. This is a massive damaging skill. One of the strongest pieces of your kit. However, and a very large however, it always takes 2 cartridges. And for those of you who played Gunbreaker and Shadowbringers, understand that you always want to be using Gnashing Fang immediately off cooldown. You also want to be using Double Down immediately off cooldown because it applies with the same principle of its recast is something you want to keep rolling all the time. Which means every minute you have to make sure you have 3 cartridges stocked. If you don't, either Gnashing Fang or Double Down is going to drift massively. One or the other is going to drift a massive amount. Because having to do 3 full GCDs to get up that either second cartridge for Double Down or a singular cartridge for Gnashing Fang is a nightmare. Because you're just sitting in No Mercy being like, I want to do my DPS combo, I want to do my DPS combo, I want to do my DPS combo, and you can't. Now, this can all be solved by a solid amount of pre-planning. The way that you play Gunbreaker now revolves less around sitting on 2 cartridges, holding for your Gnashing Fang windows, and instead sitting on 3 cartridges, holding for your Double Down windows. So the way that you have to think about the job has changed. If you haven't played Gunbreaker before, I don't imagine it'll be too drastic of a problem for you. It'll just be you hit 90 and you have to learn the way that you sit on 3 cartridges in place of the way that you used to sit on 2 pre-90. It will make muscle memory jumping between 90 and not 90 content a little weird. You may overcap gauge a few times. I know I've had that problem. However, it's not that bad once you get used to it. It is a massive amount of mentality changes, a massive amount of muscle memory changes. However, once you get used to it, it will become a bit more second nature. As you'll see in the gameplay that's following in a bit, you're just going to be sitting on 3 cartridges almost all the time. That's how you should really plan out the job now. It's a bit of a weird change, and it feels a little janky, but it will essentially guarantee that you will always enter into Gnashing Fang with 3 cartridges, able to hit your Gnashing Fang and your Double Down every single time. Okay, now for the final part of the talking section before we actually get into the showing off how the rotation works. I'm going to talk and walk you through how the opener works currently, because it's a little strange if you played Gunbreaker before. So, the opener that I've been running, that the balance has put out there as a tentative best idea for your opener, that I've seen quite a few people talk about as this could be the opener that we use for most of the expansion, is as such. Keen Edge, Brutal Shell, this is where you weave in your potion, if you're using potions, then Solid Barrel. So now you'll have 1 cartridge. You'll hit No Mercy, you'll go Gnashing Fang, Continuation, and you'll weave in Bloodfest during that window. Then you will hit your Double Down, and then double weave Bowshock Blasting Zone. Then you'll hit your Sonic Break, so that all of your dots are applied during party buff windows. Then you'll hit a Rough Divide. You'll weave Gnashing Fang, whatever the second version is, with its continuation. Hit Rough Divide again, the 3rd iteration of your Gnashing Fang combo and its continuation. Then you'll hit your Burst Strike and its continuation, and then you go Keen Edge, Brutal Shell, Solid Barrel. Everything from your first instance of the Gnashing Fang combo to the second Solid Barrel you hit should all fall under No Mercy. All of that. So you get a full Gnashing Fang combo, you get your Double Down, you'll get Bowshock, Blasting Zone, Sonic Break, a Burst Strike, and a full 1-2-3, all under No Mercy. And if you're not able to do that, I recommend changing your skill speed. Right now I'm sitting at a 2-4-2 skill speed, which is moderately comfy, but from having a day where my reflexes are lacking or my ping's messing me up a little bit, I can struggle to fit in that last Solid Barrel inside the burst window. That's something that I recommend you work out on your own, because not everyone's going to be dealing with ping the same way, and not everyone's going to want the same GCD speed. I personally recommend 2-4-2 or 2-4-0, because they felt the best to me. However, you do what works the best for you. Try and follow BIS outlines that people have put out there, but don't be afraid to mess with your skill speed if it allows you to play a fight better. So, outside of that, your reopeners are very, very, very strange. The biggest problem doesn't show up until your 3-minute window, where things get a little weird. By that I mean you will enter into your 3-minute window by Gnashing Fang, Continuation, and then hitting No Mercy. Which sounds wrong, but I promise it works out. Because you'll enter into No Mercy there, then you'll hit your Double Down in a Rough Divide, and then you'll use Bloodfest, so that you're back up at 3 cartridges. Then it's Sonic Break, Bowshock Blasting Zone, finish out your Gnashing Fang combo weaving in your Rough Divides, and then you will get to triple Burst Strike with Continuation. That triple burst strike with continuation is what makes up for you using that first Gnashing Fang outside of No Mercy. Because at the very end of the combo, if you've been doing it and your rotation perfectly the whole time, you'll actually end with a solid barrel and then get a fourth burst strike underneath No Mercy. The continuation might not fall underneath it, but that's okay. But keep in mind, these are all tentative ideas and numbers. The most important thing is that when you're popping No Mercy, you are trying to fit in your Gnashing Fang, your Double Down, your Sonic Break, Bow Shock, and Blasting Zone all inside of it. As long as you're getting all of those skills inside of it and trying to fit the maximum number of GCDs that you can, you should be mostly fine on Gunbreaker. We've gotten very busy, and as you'll see in the rotational section that follows, there's a lot of buttons to push. I recommend hitting a striking dummy for quite a while to relearn how to play the job, because Double Down has really changed us. Either way, I thank you for watching. I thank you for hanging out. Like, comment, subscribe if you liked the video. All that classic stuff, and I hope to catch you in the next one.